Hi you guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a first impression slash review on the Il Makiage Woke Up Like This Flawless Face Foundation. So if you're interested in seeing that review, then just keep watching. So for those of you who have not heard of this foundation before, one, I'm very surprised because it is all over the internet as like this internet sweeping sensation. So let's go ahead and I'll show you how it arrived. So it came in this nice black box, and then inside the box the foundation comes in this actually kind of large box, but you open it up and then, oh, it's shifted a little bit, but you open it up and the foundation is inside. It comes in a nice glass frosted bottle. So a little bit of background on this foundation. It is called the Woke Up Like This Foundation. It is 1 fluid ounce and retails for $44, which 1 fluid ounce is pretty standard for foundation. And then usually like that $40 range is pretty standard for more of like the higher end foundations. And let's see what it says. It says 50 shades for all skin tones, lightweight buildable texture, buildable medium to high coverage, natural matte finish, and it has vitamin E for anti-aging benefits, hyaluronic acid for hydration, protection, and filling wrinkles, and it's also 100% cruelty free. So that is always good. I know a lot of people like to get cruelty-free products, so this is one of them. So one thing that's really neat about this foundation is you can go on their website and get shade matched. So obviously that is a lot of shades to choose from, and I believe they have a store in New York City, but a lot of us don't have access to that, so we would be purchasing online. So you go and you fill out their online quiz and it generates a shade for you to test out. So they recommended 020 for me. And this is what it looks like, and it actually looks pretty close to a foundation shade that I would pick up for myself. So if you guys are interested in seeing the application and review, let's jump into it. Alright you guys, my skin is nice and clean. All that I have on it is my skincare, some sunscreen, and a little bit of primer. So I am going to, I like foundation reviews where they do one side with a sponge and one side with a brush. So that is what I'm going to do. I am going to pump some product out onto just my little palette, stainless steel palette, and I am going to use a beauty blender on one side to apply. It looks like the color is going to be pretty good for me, so we will see. Alright, it has a nice natural finish so far, which that I really enjoy. Also, don't mind my super dirty sponge. I purposely did not wash it because I feel like after I wash my sponge, it doesn't like apply my makeup as well the first time I use it. So I wanted it to, you know, be able to have its best performance. So yes, I'm using a dirty sponge. It is what it is. Okay, there's like a bird or something outside making noise. Sorry if you can hear. Okay, so yeah, there's 4 turkeys outside and they're making a bunch of noise. They're like chasing each other around right now, so sorry about that. Clearly they don't know I'm filming. Okay, so I am using a Beauty Creations brush to do the brush side. So one thing I'm noticing right off the bat with this is that it is not like immediately full coverage. I'm definitely going to have to build this up, but if it does build up, I can see why a lot of people would like this, because it's gonna range for people who like less coverage to people who like more coverage. So like it can be pretty sheer, pretty light if you wanted it to be. Okay, so this is the first coat. I'm just gonna sit here for a second so it'll focus on me so you guys can get a good idea of the coverage. So it's decent coverage wise. I feel like the color is like spot on. Like once I get some bronzer and everything on, it's going to match like perfectly. So that is kind of crazy. That's one thing that I've been seeing. Everybody's like, I picked this foundation out online and the color that they recommended for me is just like spot on. And it is crazy because it's videos of people like actually applying it. And it like matches them exactly. Okay, so here's with the second coat. So it gives me a lot more coverage. I think I am going to just leave it at this, just to kind of see how it wears. But I am going to finish this side and blend it out with a brush. I am using a combination of like stippling, swirling, and just like short little strokes, so that way that helps eliminate some of the brush lines. Okay, so on this side, I do have a little bit of redness still peeking through right there. I had a blackhead that I extracted last night. It's not like blurring out my pores or anything. It's quite emphasizing them. Let's see if you guys can see them. So I'm not a huge fan of that, but maybe once I get my concealer and everything on, it won't be as bad. So now I'm gonna go ahead and pop some concealer on and see how it lays on top. Maybe I'll put a little bit up there on that red spot. Okay, so things blended out pretty nicely. One thing I am starting to notice is that it is starting to dry down quite a bit. And it's kind of like going away from more of like that natural finish. But yeah, and it's like settling into my fine lines, which really, I guess, aren't really fine lines. They're more wrinkles at this point of my life. But I'm gonna go ahead and add some bronzer. I'm using a cream bronzer that just broke. Oh man. I'm lucky that I caught that, and now my pants are super dirty. Okay, so the bronzer blended out pretty nicely on top of that. The reason I'm showing you guys all this stuff is because I like to show you guys how stuff layers on top of it, because most of us don't just wear foundation, you know, most of us do products on top of it. So I do like to give you guys an idea about how products lay on top of it. So now I'm going in with some Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter just to show you another product layering on top of it, a liquid product. Okay, so that layered quite nicely on top of it. So now I am going to set my under eyes, and I'll go ahead and list all of the products I'm using down in the description box below. So if you guys were curious about what stuff is, that is where it will be. So we will set our under eyes. Okay, so we just kind of set the center of our face. So now I'm going to go in with my press powder and set the rest of my face after I dust off all this excess powder. Okay, so this is what the foundation looks like when it's all set down. It looks pretty good. Like I said, I knew once I put the other products on top of it, I would get a little bit more coverage. So the coverage is okay. It's definitely not full coverage. I put 2 full coats on, and it did not build up to full coverage. Probably what I would do is try to do more targeted areas. So I do 2 full layers, and then I would go in and do more targeted to certain spots that I wanted a little more coverage. But it looks pretty good. It feels pretty good. It feels set down. So I am going to finish the rest of my face, and then I'll show you guys what it looks like. I'm just going to do a simple makeup look so that way we can really see the foundation. The foundation is our focal point of today. All right, you guys, I am finished with my makeup. As I said, I went with more of a natural look so we can really focus on the foundation. So I would say from this distance, everything looks really good. Everything applied beautifully on top of it. But when you get nice and close, let me just scooch in. I would say that the Beauty Blender side looks better than the brush side. I would say that you can really see my texture emphasized. I guess I don't really have like texture, but like enlarged pores. You can really see my pores like in this area and really on the brush side. One other thing is that it has settled into my wrinkle lines on my forehead. So if you are somebody who has like more defined wrinkles, you are probably going to get a little bit of settling in them. Other than all that, so if you have flawless skin, you'll probably like this foundation. But other than that, it feels comfortable. The color is beautiful. The coverage is pretty good. It's just kind of settling in unflattering ways. So I will go ahead and do a couple more check-ins throughout the day so that you guys can see how it looks. All right, you guys, I just wanted to jump on and do my first check-in. It has been about 3 hours and everything still looks about the same as when I finish my makeup. So I'll just show you guys up close. You can see that the settling in the forehead lines is still about the same, but coverage is still the same. I'm not really having any breaking up. other than just the settling in the lines, everything looks good. So I'll do another check-in in a couple of hours. All right, you guys, I have had this makeup on for almost 8 hours at this point, so I just wanted to do my final check-in now. So get nice and close. So like literally nothing has changed since I put this on. There has been no breaking up, no more settling in my wrinkles and fine lines. I do have a little bit of wear away around my nose, but that's because I had cat hair on my nose earlier, so I had to scratch it. So that was no fault of the makeup, just my own. But it looks really, really good. So here's my final thoughts. Il Makiage actually does a really good return policy. So if you aren't satisfied, you can send it back, or if you need a different shade, you can send it back and they will exchange it for you, no questions asked. So that is awesome, since most of us are going to be purchasing it online. So my thoughts are, I really recommend this to people with a little bit more youthful skin, you know, people who haven't really gotten wrinkles or anything like that, because it's going to look best on you. Now, those of us that are a little bit older, we definitely still can use it, but I think you need more of like a pore filling or smoothing primer to put on before to get the most out of it. Now, I am actually going to be keeping this because my favorite thing about this, other than the long wearing lasting power that it has, is the color. The color is awesome. So I am actually going to be keeping this, and I am going to use it as a mix-in with some of my foundation that's a little more full coverage, just so I can get that full coverage, full coverage that I truly desire. But all in all, I would say that this is a really great foundation, and if you have been curious about trying it, I would say go for it, because it really does have that risk-free return that you can do if it turns out that you don't like it. But that's all I had for this week's video, so thank you guys for watching. We'll see you in the next one.